I know that I'm feeling exactly what my mother felt while she was still alive. And while I was inside her. Because I remember that feeling. It's really good to know her again. I'm not just your daughter.
We're in Copenhagen. We're talking to Lau Korsgaard, the game designer on the new upcoming internet online scientific murder mystery thing, Cloud Chamber. The concept, I guess we should probably explain that because it is something kind of new.
Yeah, so this is kind of like an online mystery in a 3D virtual world database. So you move around in a virtual world and unlock media files. And those media files is part of a big puzzle, a big mystery. And you have to discuss these with other people online to gain access further and further down in the database.
So you've been in charge of the gameplay, I guess. Where do you start when you have to build like a sort of thing, I guess, where people can discover all these like found footage stuff and that?
So one of the big challenges for us is that like there's been a bunch of these kind of like online mysteries, but they're all like kind of like have this temporal problem that it happens, and then if you don't join the online mystery from the beginning, then like everything is solved. So we like one of the big challenges has been to just design a permanent mystery that you can enter in a year and still have this experience of discovery. So one of the like big challenges for us have been to develop a social gameplay mechanic. It's kind of like gamified Facebook. You discuss these media files and you like and dislike other people's posts. And the more likes you get, the more trust you build to this database, and you can get further and further access. So building this kind of like social gameplay was one of the cores for us, like gameplay-wise.
Yeah, because I imagine when you have a mystery, eventually or pretty quickly probably, you'll have somebody who's reached the end and figured out what's what, and then they'll discuss it online somewhere. So how do you avoid or how do you make it so that the people who join up later actually has a chance of discovering the mystery on their own instead of just finding the ending by someone else?
Yeah, so we don't have we don't give a clear answer anyway. Like it's all a big discussion actually. So there's like a lot of questions being asked. There's like a signal from space. What is this signal? There's somebody died in the 70s. Who died? And so on and so on. And the gameplay is actually not about figuring out what is the truth, but making interesting or funny comments about these media files that other people are gonna like, or identify them yourself and like and dislike those. So actually it's a big bullshit game. You have to like be funny, be interesting, be clever, but not necessarily find the truth, because the truth is so hidden under a lot of layers, so you will never kind of get it.
But if I join like 6 months from now, yes, somebody has been playing it, and they've obviously reached the end, maybe connected all the dots. Will they spoil the experience for me?
Probably not. No. So one of the things we're doing is that we are hiding kind of like comments and posts from higher level players for the entry level players. So when you enter the experience in 6 months, you will discuss this experience with other level 1 players. And only when you like reach level 4, you will see the post by older level 4 players. So that's one of the things we're doing. But the other thing is that there is no like there's not that much to spoil actually. It's just a big mystery, a big mess, and we don't give that many answers. We ask a lot of questions. Yeah.
So what do I get when I actually finish the thing?
Well, that all depends on the other users you play with. I think like the core payoff, like the core joy of this is actually to engage in a social discussion with other players. So it's actually like what do you get of being active on Facebook? You get like you get the feeling of being part of a network, being funny, getting like likes when you say something interesting and so on. And that experience, that's kind of like the payoff in this game. The media files, the fiction, and all that is kind of that's actually the gameplay. So yeah, we will not actually give you answers, but we will give you a lot to talk about.
So at the moving through the world, how does that work, basically, in essence?
Yeah, so we've built this kind of big 3D virtual database that is some kind of like weird, it's kind of like a weird fake like data visualization database. So the idea is that there's these media files are placed in the database, and whatever is like interesting has been raised above the sea level, and what is not interesting has been like lowered. But this database has been infected by a signal from space, and that like this signal from space is the whole mystery. So the database itself, like the game itself, is like corrupted and noisy and like infected, and that infection is part of the big puzzle. So you're moving through a kind of like a haunted database from this kind of like 3D virtual database, and at the same time, it also like this noise, weird noise and affection, also reflects the character's kind of like psychological state. So when our main character Kathleen is depressed, you will move through depressed environment. When she is like exalted, or like when she's super happy, it's like a super happy environment. And this kind of like weird psychic link between the characters, the database, and the signal from space is part of the big puzzle. So the game itself is actually a piece in the puzzle.
And when I find one of these media files, what actually happens?
So what actually happens is you enter a node in the database, you open it, and you see a video clip. There's a lot of found footage. So it's a video clip of these three young kids discovering a signal from space, and they are like you follow their story. You see the video clip, and you enter a forum. In that forum, we've been like asking a bunch of questions. So one question could be, well, is she in love with her, or something like that, and you engage in a discussion about that. Whenever you have engaged enough in that discussion, liked or disliked the correct posts, you will gain access to further parts of the database. So you move through this 3D virtual world and like discuss in order to get more access.
So is participation in discussion a mandatory part of the game, or can I, if I'm the shy, quiet type?
One thing is you don't have to post anything yourself. You can just like and dislike other comments, and that's kind of how we imagine most players actually playing. It's only like maybe the 10% that actually writes something interesting. The rest of us are just like thumbing up whatever is there. Then another part of the game is that you can move through the virtual world and kind of clean up the noise. And that's kind of like a Guitar Hero experience where you fly through and have to like engage in some kind of rhythm game. Because this noise from space is also deeply connected with weird electronic music. So you can also gain points by playing a rhythm game and thereby like not playing the social game at all.
So the game is just about to launch, and it probably will have launched by the time this goes online. But does that mean your involvement in the game stops, or are you continuing to work on it after you're live?
Yeah, no. We're constantly kind of like trying to monitor what is going on here. The thing is, this is like nobody else has done stuff like this before. It is like really, really big and weird, and we are super terrified of what's gonna happen. So we're gonna like sit there and like monitor whatever the players are doing. What is sparking discussions? What is like not interesting to players at all? And like we kind of trying to fine-tune the experience constantly. So it might be too unclear to players. It might be that they just like stop and keep discussing this thing, or they might want to explore the love story more than they want to explore the science of this experience and so on. And we keep on like tuning it and maybe producing new content if we will have a budget for that.
All right. Well, Lau, thank you very much for talking to us. Yeah, thanks.